Hello everybody, welcome. It's Tuesday afternoon. The clouds just come in and it's started to rain here in Leeds. I'm interested to know what the weather might be like where you are. Why don't you send us a little note in the chat. I've got Fran in the room helping me with the chat today. Let me hear you, Fran. Woo! Woo! And I've got Ahmed on the running the actual webinar itself. So yeah, stick it in the chat. Let me know if the sun's shining, because it's not supposed to be so bad, the weather at the moment. And I've heard we're actually even going into a mild Christmas or a mild winter, which is great because I'd much sooner be off in Fuerteventura getting some sun while I'm working rather than struggling on with a dark night. Anybody on the chat want to let us know where you are and what the weather's like with you? So we're just going to start this webinar in a minute or two. I'm just going to give everybody a minute to join us. We've got 100 plus people signed up to the webinar, so hopefully we'll have 100 plus people partaking. And built into the webinar, I've allowed for a couple of polls and some Q&A. So I want to make it as interactive as possible for you. So I'm just going to start by introducing myself for the next minute whilst we wait for everybody to join and yeah, get comfortable. So my name's Stuart Payne. I'm the Strategy Director for Neo Technology. And I'm going to be talking today about what are the benefits of a DevOps strategy, because ultimately technology is here to help you speed up your business processes, to improve the quality of the code. Certainly in a DevOps environment, you would expect that, to drive innovation through your organization, and ultimately improve your agility to become agile. It's a brilliant methodology. We'll talk a little bit about that in the webinar. But ultimately, how are you going to improve your return on investment from your technology projects using a DevOps strategy? So as I say, I'm Stuart Payne. I work for Neo Technology. We're a technology solutions provider, and we're in the business of helping people solve problems, either technology problems or business problems using technology. So I've just had Dave joining, and somebody's saying they're struggling to get on. Can we have a look at that, Ahmed, please? So again, put in the chat what the weather's like. I've got you can't see it from here, but beyond me, I've got a glass window and I can see the sky as I'm 17 stories up in Leeds. So it's looking cloudy out there. Hopefully the sun is shining in this room. Okay, it's 4 minutes past the hour. We're going to kick off now. So I'm going to start talking about the benefit of a DevOps strategy. As I said before, my name's Stuart Payne. I work for Neo Technology as the strategy director, and we're in the business of solving business problems with technology, or solving technology problems because you're struggling with it for some reason. And sometimes it's about identifying those reasons. So we're here to talk, as I say, about what are the benefits of a DevOps strategy, and essentially they're listed here in terms of the key topics. So how to increase return on investments, the benefits of collaboration, how to increase speed to market. We all know the quicker you get a new product to market, the quicker you make more money and start getting revenue. What are the benefits of innovating, how to improve customer satisfaction, and we'll talk a little bit about that in more detail as well as we go along. Certainly some of our clients have seen 30% plus increases in satisfaction from customers as a result of implementing a technology solution, which is fantastic, because ultimately what does that do? Well, it helps you grow your sales, yeah? And also then it improves code quality and site reliability because of the methodology that you use in testing But again, we'll go through that a little bit as we go through the webinar. Ultimately, we want to help you gain competitive advantage, help you disrupt your sector, and at the same time, reduce your costs, increase efficiency, etc. So that's what we're going to be talking about within what are the benefits of a DevOps strategy. So much of the time, it actually starts with frustrations, and the whole process comes through either, well, one of these, I'm going to share them now, but a lack of cohesive strategy. So you've got businesses working in silos, they're not working cohesively, they don't collaborate, they don't understand the customer journey. And I think that that's a key point to raise. You know, if I'm looking at a customer journey, it goes all the way through every department at different levels. And therefore that needs to be seamless. So you need that cohesive strategy. Or there's no leadership buy-in because they don't understand the return on investment. And again, it's about building a business case to show that. As well as that, it might just be something simple that your legacy systems or your processes are holding you back and you're not quite sure which way to go, you know, in terms of going to the cloud or migrating your CRM or starting to use SharePoint, etc. For obvious other benefits, but you know, the very easy to integrate different systems once you're in the cloud. And again, that gives you a massive benefit in terms of time and speed. So, well, I've already said it in terms of a lack of cohesive strategy and silo mentality. You know, we need to break those things in terms of benefiting from a DevOps strategy. And again, that all links through to poor communication. Because if you're not communicating throughout your organization, then you're never going to get that buy-in from all parties. And it's really important that you do. If there is no definition of success, then you're going to find it hard, not just in terms of leadership buy-in, but getting buy-in right throughout the organization. And so make sure that we cover off some of these points. It's really important. And if there's bureaucracy within your organization, and it might be something as simple as your IT team are so busy because they're taking calls every day saying my laptop's broken, or can you come and fix this cable, or whatever it might be, but that might be just stopping them from actually getting to a point where they could develop code, and or they might not have the skill set to be able to do that. But at least you could identify what those gaps are then, and therefore how you need to plug them. And again, I've already said, but it might be too many manual processes. So I've just had a thing through on Teams, and James is saying it's gloomy up in Scotland, up in Stirling. Well, I hope the sun comes out for you, mate. Keep smiling. So if people are just joining, just to reiterate, I'm Stuart Payne, I'm from Neo Technology, and we solve business issues with technology, or technology issues, because we've got the skill set to do it. We're currently talking about the benefits of DevOps, and I've already started to speak about some of these frustrations. But what we're really looking to do is overcome some of these frustrations and then drill down into the methodology so that you can really see the benefit of a DevOps strategy. So again, you know, we need to make sure, and this is what I nearly always do, 99% of the time, I unite the businesses, the organizations behind the customer needs. And let's face it, certainly since the pandemic, those needs have changed, and the way that people interact with organizations has radically changed. And again, I've already mentioned this, but if IT are always too busy and it means that they can't deploy technology or they don't have the skill set, then it's about working out what you're going to do to come up with a solution around that. So interactivity, I did promise that at the top of the webinar. So we're going to do a quick poll now, thinking about those frustrations. I'm really intrigued or interested to understand what your frustrations are, what your pain points are right now. So I've categorized 8 answers into 4 responses to make it easy. So what we're going to do, what I want you to do is just put in the chat, and Fran can then give me all of the details, either number 1, 2, 3, or 4. And what does that mean? That means that putting number 1 into the chat if you are concerned about how to engage customers, because technology has changed their interaction, their behavior, or you're losing market share to disruptors. That's a number one. Number two is, do you have too many manual processes in your organization? And as a result of that, the manual tasks are becoming a blocker to growth. That's because you're too busy doing what we would call the status quo, and not being able to get to a point where you can survive, thrive, grow. It's important. Then number three, you can put number three in the chat if it's just a case of you're so busy that you don't have the time to scale, and therefore, and also you're struggling to get access to teams of people with the right skills to help you deliver the technology. And it's important, I'm going to stress this, the technology at pace. So again, that's number three in the chat. And then number four, if you're limiting yourself to what you think technology can do, because it can do a lot more than you think. You know, there's software out there now from some of the big players, you know, Microsoft for one of them, that actually monitors clicks, and it can see from your customers and well, your prospects, what people are clicking on and their journey through your organization. It really helps you to resolve those issues, because you can then build a workflow and use the AI in order to automate that process. But if you are being limited by what you think technology can do, if it's stopping you from becoming the future you in terms of your organization, then put a number four in the chat. So I'm just going to leave it a little minute now for you guys to put those numbers. One, for are you concerned? Two, too many manual processes and it's blocking you from growing. Three, you don't have time and you can't find the technologies or the technologists, should I say, sorry. And number four, for if you're limiting what you think technology, limited by what you think technology can do, and it's stopping you becoming the future you. So most people at the moment are saying that it's, do you have too many manual processes in your business, and that manual tasks are becoming a blocker for growth. So we'll just monitor that as we go through the webinar, and I'm sure that Fran will start pointing numbers at me, and I'll update you further along in this process. So where we are right now, as I said, I'm Stuart Payne from Neo Technology, and yeah, let's get into a bit more detail. So how can DevOps improve your business? Well, certainly the pandemic has given rise to a whole new world, and the demand for technology and advances in the way that people can facilitate business to drive efficiency, to grow and scale, is that still people are going for number two. That sounds bad, I'm really sorry. Anyway, technology advances facilitate people's growth and efficiency, but the technology industry is moving really fast. So it's really key that you get on this this road of DevOps, because, well, you'll see as we go through, it'll show you how and what the ROI is. It'll improve it, because every day you're reviewing what you've done the day before and testing. So you do a piece of work from a technology perspective, some software development, you test it and review it every day. And then every 2 weeks, you start to plan out the next 2 weeks and review it every day. And it basically increases velocity of deployment, speed to market, and therefore an improved ROI. So what does an improved ROI do for you? Well, ultimately, it should give you competitive advantage. And in today's environment, you know, interest rates rising, the business community not quite knowing left from right, well, certainly the government not quite knowing left from right, it's important that you can maintain or build competitive advantage. The other thing that it will do, and by introducing technology at pace to satisfy the demand of customers, is increase customer satisfaction. And so if you really think about what that means, well, I've already said it earlier on in the webinar, but we've seen increases of plus 30% in customer satisfaction because we built a brilliant customer journey. And DevOps helps you streamline all the aspects of that flow going through to the point of deployment and after, because it's an ongoing cyclical process. But it also improves collaboration. And with collaboration comes innovation. Now, I'm not saying that you should do innovation to its purest extent. You know, part of the DevOps would mean that you can nurture an environment where you're trialing and testing on an ongoing basis, so that you can then get to a point when you do the release, you know that the software works. Yeah, and you start to be able to work as a real team, bouncing ideas off each other. And in fact, you know, for me, and in terms of Neo technology, it's brilliant because I sit here on a daily basis talking to my team and asking them, okay, how do we collaborate more to drive the outcome that we want, the goal? And it's so great to be on it. And again, people are still voting predominantly to say that they've got too many manual processes in their business. I've already mentioned speed. And DevOps certainly improves speed because of the way that you are building testing. It negates that need for, you know, I've heard stories just this last week. I went to some meetings with clients and they were telling me that they'd briefed a job in and not seen anything for 2 months, and then the actual solution came back, and then they had to start trying to work with it, and they're identifying loads of problems. DevOps gets you away from that. You know, you're reviewing on a daily basis, and you're showing the customer every 2 weeks, or at least you should be. And then also, clearly, I've already spoken about it, but collaboration and agility all come to bear their fruit through this process with the DevOps process. So, as I say, I'm Stuart Payne from Neo Technology, and we use this methodology to solve technology issues for organizations or business issues with technology. So the demands of a modern day customer are intense. They want fast responses. In fact, they want immediate responses. They want quick delivery. And they want to know that when they ask a question, somebody's going to come back and respond ASAP. Well, a DevOps process will help you do that. It will help you build technology that delivers those outcomes for your clients. And the next key thing, we've skipped, hang on, just let me go back, is all about quality and reliability. It's really important because you're reviewing the code every day and what you've been doing, and then having a show and tell every 2 weeks. The quality of code improves because you're not sat there on you are sat there on a daily basis testing, and you start to see the bugs as they happen, and your team become more streamlined in the process that they then code, and it starts to improve code quality. If you've got improved code quality, then you get improved reliability of the solution. Let's face it, the last thing that we want is for your software to break and go down when your customer's in the middle of the journey, and they just drop off and go and find somebody else to deliver the solution. So DevOps does really work in that way. Now, security is a strange one, but most DevOps processes in terms of becoming lean and efficient are in the cloud, and the cloud offers so much more security than an on-premise server. And indeed, we do a lot of work with cloud migration purely for security. But then the secondary benefits around integrations, out-of-the-box solutions are just brilliant. And we can talk a little bit about that if you want to understand more about certainly the Microsoft tech stack and how you can automate process and drive all of these benefits through low code, no code, then reach out to me. Just drop your email address in the chat with Fran, and that would be great. So I've then got a question just come in on the chat actually saying, what's the average speed of delivery for a product with DevOps? Well, that's a massive question. It depends on the product. is the answer. And we work where we've done work within a couple of weeks, but then we've also done work where it takes 6 months. It literally depends on the project. What you do know is that by the time you get to the point of release, you've tested and shared every step of the journey with the customer, so that by the point of no return, when you're about to go live, you know everything is working. So the other thing that it does is, and by releasing on stage by stage by stage, you start to get cost reduction. Now that cost reduction isn't just doing it more cost effective or cheaper in terms of day rates, although that is a big benefit that certainly Neo deliver with utilizing global teams. It's cost reduction in terms of improving velocity, because essentially you're getting more work done in the day, the week, the month, etc. And of course, because you're improving the quality, your downtime decreases and your uptime increases. Therefore, you're getting rid of those costs. So it's really important that, to just stress that this process, DevOps, reduces the problems that you're having by showing the client 8 months or 6 months or 4 months or 2 months down the line, because you've got instant visibility as a client. If that makes sense. Stay with me, guys. It's going to get more exciting. We're going to have another poll coming up. And actually, it's stopped raining outside here, which is great. So ultimately, what are we talking about here? We're talking about using DevOps to increase speed to market. We're talking about using it to improve time efficiency of building the code to release, in order for your business to have those positive outcomes around better customer service or satisfaction, around being faster and more efficient in your responses, around being the market leader and being able to disrupt to the sector. So by improving velocity, which I've just spoken about, you're going to reduce the cost of release and the cost of the actual dev or development in itself. And as I said, global teams allows us to actually operate about 38% more cost effectively in terms of the day rate than UK only software engineering. So this is the summary slide. Increased reliability, cost savings, increased communications, better user experience, fewer failures because you're testing, build and test every day. Obviously, that's creating higher quality, faster product delivery, shorter development cycles, increased stability, lower risk, increased visibility for the client, for you, and increased efficiency. So hopefully you can see by what I've just been saying that these things all start to work and build upon themselves to really create a brilliant sprint cycle. And that improves the product that you are going to launch, the software that you are going to put into your organization to take time from your employees so they can focus on the stuff that really matters, or for your customers to be able to use software which allows you to focus more on your business. So let's get down a bit more into the nitty-gritty and let's start to look at what a typical sprint cycle might look like. Yeah, so I don't need to show you that slide. Let's show you this one. So this is how we operate. So every 24 hours, we're building our product incrementally. We're updating the product backlog. We're running our sprint retrospectives and reviewing. Yeah, then every 14 days, we're sitting maybe on Teams or face-to-face, whichever country it might be, with the client, and we're going through and showing them the product and letting them interact with it. Yeah, and then we've obviously got the key stakeholders being involved in this process, which is the customer, the product owner, the stakeholders, the users. And it's important that you get all of those three parties working with the team. And that's because that way you're going to get a brilliant user journey, a brilliant product that satisfies the business, and everybody's on board. And as you go through that cycle, depending upon the size of the product that you're building, you then get to the point of release. And I just wanted to stress, because I was out, as I say, I was out with a client last week, and they were having some software built bespoke, and they'd gone away at the incumbent supplier, the incumbent technology business, and they'd taken the brief. 2 months later, they came back and they showed them the product. There was no insight, there was no visibility into the way that it had been built. And what was happening, therefore, was that the vendor, the supplier, was keeping the customer at arm's length. And essentially, what does that mean? That means that the customer doesn't understand what's going on in the process, and therefore doesn't understand the code. Whether it's low code or not, it doesn't matter. But they were arm's length away. And some technology businesses will do that, and they'll do that because then they keep all of that intellectual insight to themselves. That means that then you're constantly going to have to be going back and asking them for a fix. Therefore, they make more money. That's why you shouldn't be operating that methodology. And that's why DevOps and Agile absolutely works. So I'm going to just show you a simple sprint now in terms of what that might look like for a period of maybe 5-7 weeks. And just to let you know, if you didn't know or you've just joined us, I know we've got some more people joining. I'm Stuart Payne. I'm from Neo Technology. We solve business problems with technology. We help you with digital transformation, and we help you solve technology problems because we have a global team of people that are brilliantly skilled. Anyway, get back to this. This is a simple sprint. Design and test. Develop and test. Develop and test. Integrate into your systems and test. And you're doing that, as I say, going back to that previous slide, every day, every 14 days. Now, you might think that sounds labor intensive. It absolutely is not, because it's a briefing session and it keeps you in the know, keeps you on top of the product that's being built that will help you disrupt your sector, drive efficiencies, etc. So I said it'd be interactive. I've got another poll for you. What I want to know is how many people on this webinar are working in sprints with either their internal technology teams or an outsourced vendor, supplier, to get a solution. And I want to know, number one, if you're reviewing in 2 weeks, every 2 weeks you're reviewing the technology that's being built. Or number two, if it's every 4 weeks that you're getting to review the technology that's being built. Or every 8 weeks. And I hope not that this is not the case, or never. Because if it's never, you'll be spending an absolute fortune on your technology solutions for your business. I'm just going to give it a minute now whilst Fran's collating all the insights. But please put in the chat, are you number one, every 2 weeks? Number two, every 4 weeks? Number three, every 8 weeks? Or number four, and I hope not, for your sake, never? Tell you what I will say, I was talking about the weather earlier on, just while we're waiting for those those results from the poll to come in. Although it's cloudy and it's a bit grey, it is really warm. I came in a light summer jacket today. How are we doing, Fran?
I've got a question, Stu.
Oh, Fran's got a question for me. Go on, Fran.
What is the difference between DevOps and Agile?
Whoa, so they're really interlinked, and you wouldn't operate one without the other from my perspective. Yeah, so I would say that they are absolutely aligned to each other. They're compatible, collaborate, all of those things. Don't do one without the other. So if you're intrigued by what we've been talking about so far, I've got a little giveaway for you now. Wow, okay. So most people are coming back and saying they're reviewing the code and the software every 8 weeks. Guys, bring it back to 2 weeks. You'll have so many, such a reduction in amends 8 weeks later. It's going to save you a fortune and speed up your dev. If you're interested in reading more about what we're talking about now, you can see here on the screen, we've written an ebook. Give big shout out to Harry for writing it and Alina for creating it from a creative perspective. And this is maybe some further insight that you could use. So just reach out to me, either drop us an email, put your email in the chat, let us know. We'll send you the Benefits of a DevOps Strategy ebook and you can have a read. I can't believe it's 8 weeks. Anyway, that's, you know, room for change, room for growth. We've got some people now saying 4 weeks, which isn't so bad, but I would really recommend you to review every 2 weeks. It'll improve the pace. So one of the other things that I just wanted to talk about as part of DevOps is actually accessing global or hybrid global teams. So, you all know, you think about the pandemic and what that's actually driven in terms of people working from home and people now even moving out of cities and going to work, in a lodge in the countryside or what have you, whatever suits them. Yeah. Then if you think about a simple expansion of that, it's going to live in a different country or actually employing people in a different country. And as long as you're working around this agile DevOps methodology, it doesn't matter, because every day you're in time zone, every day you're reviewing the work that's being done. And the biggest benefit you get from that is that you've got a massive talent pool. It's so much bigger than UK only. And I talk to customers and prospects all the time, and they're saying, I'm really finding it hard to find a BA or somebody who's good with the Microsoft stack or somebody who's a C# dev. Well, obviously you can come to Neo Technology and tap into our teams, but if you've got a global team instead of just a UK team or an in-country team, then your talent pool is massive. It's so much bigger. Don't get me wrong, it's still competitive, and certainly for the best solutions engineers, technologists. So another part of the agile process and the DevOps process is to work at this methodology. So a pod is not a proof of delivery from Amazon. Yeah, it's a product development team. So what we want to do is get people focused on what they're actually doing. They're going to build a product which will allow you to, once it's deployed, take over your market sector, be the market leader, be efficient, drive growth, all of those exciting things. And by keeping them focused, you get again, and I'm repeating myself to some degree, but it's really important, you get the scalability, you get the agility of being able to change your product if the market changes, or if something that you test, then you realize that there's a change needed. You can make that change straight away. It's highly efficient. And then your people can go and work autonomously, but they come back and share every day. And obviously then you benefit from operational support, you get that flexibility, you could have people deving over 24/7 if you really wanted to. And you get the delivery governance and the quality of the code, and you've got that scale from the talent because you've got global. So this next ebook that I'm showing you now covers DevOps, Agile, and global teams. And it talks also a little bit about time zone crossover. So we have a client in London who trade globally. It's app development in-game, like little games in-app. And they brief us on 5 o'clock on an evening, and we code through the night to then get them the code back the following morning when they can show it to the client, to then review, to test, and on we go. And we've had some fantastic outcomes operating that process. So what I wanted to do now is just go to, again, I wanted to reiterate the point around the benefits of DevOps. because it's significant, and I can't underplay the significance of increased visibility and what that does. So again, it drives cost savings. Global teams also drives cost savings. So you can imagine the impact of a 38% cost saving by using global teams, but then also improving the velocity and producing the product quicker. It's just massive. And by doing that, by operating the model, you will have increased communications, better user experience. Your customers will love your software. You know, we've got customers now where 80% of their new customers are using self-serve portals, and near on 70% across the board. So from legacy customers that they've had for a long time, 70% are using self-serve portals. Can you imagine the efficiency saving that creates? You have fewer failures, there's less bugs, you've got higher quality, faster product delivery, and that's really important in order to be able to disrupt your sector, to react to the market. And then shorter development cycles, which I've already mentioned, increased stability of the platform, lower risk, increased visibility, which, take it from me, if everybody's on an 8-week cycle before they review what's being done, you'll benefit significantly by going to 2-week sprints. Don't lose visibility of your product or the build, because it will cost you money and time in the long run. And ultimately, it's highly efficient. It creates efficiency for you and gives you better reliability, because you're bug fixing all the time, every day, as you come across them. So that went really quick. We're at 48 minutes. As I said, I'm Stuart Payne. I'm Strategy Director for Neo Technology. We help businesses become efficient, be market leaders, deliver self-serve portals, etc., etc. Has anybody got any questions? Just checking. Does DevOps improve security, and if so, how? So, the method of being agile, innovative, forward-thinking allows you to look at the plethora of softwares that are out there, or solutions if there is no software that will do that job. And part of that, you know, would be, in my experience, cloud migration, which improves security. Part of that for me, and in terms of our methodology, is that wherever we are in the world, our global teams, they're working on cloud PCs that are all based in the UK. So everything's safe and secure. I hope that makes sense for you, Stefan. I've got another thing here. Let me see. What examples of DevOps accelerating speed to market have I got? So I did tell you one. So the process with our agency client, which is in-app gaming, absolutely speeds up the process. The methodology with one of our other clients, and this is a massive claim, I don't like to use it because it's almost unbelievable, but one of our teams within our biggest client increased development by 100% using Agile, using that DevOps methodology. Now I've got another one from Frank. What are the best KPIs for evaluating DevOps performance? For me, Frank, they're fairly obvious in terms of less bugs, faster sprint cycles, or faster releases, shorter development cycles, increased visibility, lower cost, and less going back to start again to review what you've been doing over the last 8 weeks, because you're reviewing at speed on an ongoing process. So, do we have any more questions? Any more questions from the house? Come on, guys, don't let me think that you've all dropped off and left me. Still in for a conversation.
I've got a questions.
Oh, we've got Fran from the crowd.
What are the main phases of the DevOps cycle?
Okay, so I'm going to go back to the slide before and show you.
Thanks.
So typically, this is the main phase of a cycle, which is the product increment. So that's the incremental change that we are going to make over the next 24 hours. The update of the backlog, i.e. the roadmap of where we're wanting to get to, because things change every day. Reviewing what was done over the last 24 hours and what was going to be done over the forthcoming 24 hours. Combined with in that sprint review area. Yeah, and then going to a 24 hours, to the 14-day show and tell, as we often call it, is being part of that sprint planning. It's having that collaborative opportunity as the client to work with the technologists and collaborate. And at the same time, I'm just going to re-emphasize this. There's the key stakeholders, the product owner, so the customers, the users, in terms of your customers, and then the team members, i.e. the people that are building the technology for you. The core benefit of reviewing every 14 days is that you deploy faster, you have less bugs, and the people that are on the journey have significant visibility. If you're using global teams, then obviously you can actually spread the work over time, so that you are doing more work within a 24-hour cycle. So just show you this next slide as well, actually, while I'm at it, and just re-emphasize. You design and review. You develop and test on an ongoing basis. When you're ready and happy, you then integrate into your other systems, and then you test again before you go live. Hope that makes sense. Fran, any updates on the polls?
I'm on the polls, but we do have a question through from James.
Oh, okay. Fire away.
Can you be agile without DevOps?
Well, yes, you can. Of course you can. But I would seriously advise you to take the concept of agile DevOps ways of working and maximize global teams to improve the talent pool. Yeah. So don't forget, the ebooks are there for you to ask for. This perfect combination is a brilliant one in terms of showing you how global teams and hybrid working can really add value to your employees, to your talent pool, and to your output. And then we've also got the benefits of a DevOps strategy. Again, thanks to Harry and Alina for creating that book for us. But again, just stick your email in the chat and we'll send you the ebooks. Any more questions? As I say, my name's Stuart Payne. I work for Neo Technology. I'm the strategy director. I love conversation around how software can improve user journey, customer satisfaction, efficiency, growth, and scale. And I'm in the market to talk to people if they're interested regarding their business, their technology issues, or their business issues, and the response of what the technology might do.